Hi viewers, welcome back to another video session from this channel. So in this video session, we are going to study about cap dependent translation mechanism, which is most commonly observed in case of eukaryotes. So let me write it on the board. What it is? Cap dependent translation. Cap dependent translation, which is most commonly observed in case of eukaryotes, right? So here, as we have already studied about the eukaryotic translation mechanism or the eukaryotic translation process, the small subunit of the eukaryotic ribosome, which is nothing but the 40th subunit, right? So let us assume it as the 40th subunit of the eukaryotic ribosome. So here these are the three specialized sites: A site, P site and E site, right? And here initially eukaryotic initiation factor 1, it is recruited to the E site, and whereas eukaryotic initiation factor 1A, it is recruited to the A site. And here, as we all know, the 40th subunit of the eukaryotic ribosome itself, it won't get recruited to the eukaryotic mRNA. The specific eukaryotic ribosome or the 40th subunit of the eukaryotic ribosome, before to the successful recruitment of the eukaryotic mRNA, the specific ribosome, it undergoes specialized modification, and it is nothing but what? Formation of 43S pre-initiation complex. So here, what is 43S pre-initiation complex? So this is nothing but the 40th subunit, right? In case of the prokaryotic translation mechanism, for the successful recruitment of the initiated tRNA to the P site, there is no requirement of any specific initiation factor. But whereas in case of eukaryotes, for the successful recruitment of the initiated tRNA to the P site of the ribosome, the specific translation mechanism or the translation process, it takes the advantage of a specialized factor. As already mentioned, it is nothing but eukaryotic initiation factor 2, right? Eukaryotic initiation factor 2, and in addition GTP and the initiated tRNA. So here it is nothing but the ternary complex. So once when the ternary complex, when it is recruited to the 40th subunit of the eukaryotic ribosome, it leads to the formation of 43S pre-initiation complex, right? 43S pre-initiation complex. So here, once when the 43S pre-initiation complex is formed, the specific 43S pre-initiation complex, it is very sensitive to the methylated guanosine nucleotide, which is present at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA. So if you recall, the methylated guanosine nucleotide, which is present at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA, 7-methylated guanosine nucleotide, right? So here, this is nothing but the mRNA. So this is nothing but the mRNA. So let me erase the thing here. Here there is an availability of multiple adenosine nucleotides. Multiple adenosine nucleotides. Multiple adenosine nucleotides, right? At the 3' end. So here, the 43S pre-initiation complex, which is formed here, itself it is unable to recognize the methylated guanosine nucleotide, which is present at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA. And the specific 43S pre-initiation complex, it is very sensitive to the methylated guanosine nucleotide, which is present at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA. In order to recognize the methylated guanosine nucleotide, which is present at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA, the translation mechanism or the translation process, it takes the advantage of a specific initiation factor, and it is nothing but what? Eukaryotic initiation factor 4F. Eukaryotic initiation factor 4F, right? So it is a trimeric protein. That means it is an association of three different subunits, and they are nothing but eukaryotic initiation factor 4A, eukaryotic initiation factor 4E, and the other one is eukaryotic initiation factor 4G. So here we are much more concerned about a specific initiation factor, which is nothing but eukaryotic initiation factor 4E, right? So here eukaryotic initiation factor 4E, it is a cap binding protein. That means for the successful recognition of the methylated guanosine nucleotide, which is present at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA, the 43S pre-initiation complex, it takes the advantage of eukaryotic initiation factor 4e. So by taking the advantage of eukaryotic initiation factor 4e, the 43S pre-initiation complex, it is capable to recognize the methylated guanine nucleotide which is present at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA. So by taking the advantage of eukaryotic initiation factor 4e and in addition 18S rRNA, 18S rRNA which is embedded within the 40S subunit of the eukaryotic ribosome, the 43S pre-initiation complex, it gets successfully recruited to the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA. So once when the 43S pre-initiation complex, when it was got successfully recruited at the extreme 5' end of the eukaryotic mRNA, now the 43S pre-initiation complex, it proceeds in 5' to 3' direction until it recognizes the start codon or the initiation codon by the means of a specific mechanism or by the means of a specific process which is nothing but what? Scanning. So here the 43S pre-initiation complex itself, it is unable to recognize the start codon or the initiation codon. For the successful recognition of the start codon or the initiation codon, the specific mechanism, it takes the advantage of a specific initiation factor and it is nothing but what? Eukaryotic initiation factor 4b. So eukaryotic initiation factor 4b, it is responsible for the successful recognition of the start codon or the initiation codon which is embedded in a specialized polypurine sequence which is nothing but what? Kozak sequence. So for the successful recognition of the start codon, eukaryotic initiation factor 4b is required. So once when the 43S pre-initiation complex, when it is capable to recognize the start codon, under such condition, 43S pre-initiation complex, 43S pre-initiation complex, it gets successfully modified into 48S pre-initiation complex, right? 48S pre-initiation complex. Then after 48S pre-initiation complex, it is modified into 48S pre-initiation complex, it is modified into 80S pre-initiation complex. What it is? 80S pre-initiation complex, right? So let me write it here. 80S pre-initiation complex. So here 80S pre-initiation complex, it is an association of two different ribosomal subunits and these include 40S and the other one is 60S. So this is nothing but the 60S subunit, right? So then after synthesis of the polypeptide chain, it takes place so accurately. So here synthesis of the polypeptide chain, it takes place so accurately until the small subunit of the ribosome, it is about to reach the stop codons or the termination codons. So here eukaryotic initiation factor 4e, it is responsible for the successful recognition of the methylated guanine nucleotide, and whereas eukaryotic initiation factor 4g, it is an polyadenosine binding protein, right? So here eukaryotic initiation factor 4g, eukaryotic initiation factor 4g, it is an polyadenosine binding protein. The specific eukaryotic initiation factor 4g, it is capable to recognize the multiple adenosine nucleotides which are present at the extreme 3' end of the eukaryotic mRNA. So this is about cap dependent translation mechanism which is most commonly observed in case of eukaryotes but not in case of prokaryotes or even in case of primitive organisms like viruses. I hope that this video will help you a lot. So if you like this video, just hit the like button and share it to your friends. And I remember you people to subscribe my channel for getting more and more videos what I make day to day. Thank you.